Excuse me, you know I beg your pardon for this interruption. Now back to regularly scheduled programming.
All right then, in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Dice Illusions, where we're going to be playing our ongoing campaign in the Forgotten Realms with a great group of characters tonight. I'm Jamie. I'll be the GM for our session, and I'm just going to have everybody introduce themselves and their character real quick before we jump into tonight's session. Going from left to right on my screen, starting with Chris. Good evening.
Hey, I'm Chris, playing Kurza, a full-blooded elf mage wizard, and just loves to explore and try new things.
Perfect. Next is Molly.
Hello, I'm Molly, and I'm playing Mithra, a 4th level human Rashomai gladiator who's kind of on the run and thrown in her fates with the party.
Perfect. Good to have you. Last but not least, Adam.
Hey, I'm Adam playing Bartholomew, a 4th level human priest of Lyra, who is, I guess, still kind of searching for meaning and drawn back to some of our earlier misadventures.
Yeah. So I think where we left off last session was in the city of Procampur, where our group was, I believe, and you guys can help me fill some of this in. Let me move us over to this. What I recall was that you had reached Procampur and were exploring some of the different districts, and in the lower left of this current screen, you guys should see the simple map of Procampur where it shows the different districts, and there was something that happened at the gladiator arena, right? Does anyone remember what happened in the gladiator arena?
Well, Mithra was doing a wonderful battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I
And
kicked
won.
Ruth's butt, and there was some, I think, adversaries that were pointing us out. Of course, Mithra didn't notice this, but the party did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was me and Rodolfo or Rod that were trying to... they were of one of the sects that put the tattoos on our arms, so we were trying to lose them, because they were definitely mentioning something about tracking down Imithra. So
Yeah.
I managed to get a server girl to mess with them, and then Rodolfo managed to pull some stuff out of their pocket that was interesting too.
Including a map.
Yes.
Right. There was a map. You had seen the medallion. I think one of you suspected them before the conversation, and then after the conversation, they confirmed the medallion was seen. And you guys got a closer look of these three that were watching Mithra. It seemed like they were focused on her and tracking her. And after the battle, there was some controversy, I think, about the whooping that was laid down. And so I think you decided to sort of hightail it out of the services district and head towards the C district. You had noticed they were following you. I think Ronnie had followed them into the Great Way, into the passageway area through Procampur, where he noticed that they're kind of laying in wait, expecting you to exit through the gateway back to the Adventurers District. And you guys
that's why we decided to take the alternate route.
Right. So
I think we got into the Sea District, but we never really got much past that.
yeah, exactly. You made it to the checkpoint. You noticed that there was a lot more security at this checkpoint. There were 2 guards that you spoke to, and you were able to get passage through. So where we left off, you guys were standing in the Sea District, um, just after crossing through and speaking with the guards who have now let you into the Sea District. And I guess we'll leave it to you all now. We'll pick up there, standing in the Sea District in Procampur. It's probably getting closer to. It's probably late afternoon, getting closer to evening, but there's still plenty of things going on here in this district. The roofs here are mostly painted purple. Is what this district is how this district is sort of themed. If I recall, basically it seems like it's a pretty busy port, and the Sea District itself is catering to the people who work at sea. So it's a little bit scruffy and rugged compared to the Services District where you just were, and even compared to the Adventurers District, which is not the fanciest place either in town. So you definitely get the sense that it's a little more rugged here, a little more working class. There are some, taverns and establishments that you can hear and see from the street level. Let's see. Let me have you guys all roll a wisdom check.
Back to these character sheets.
Loading a little slow for me, but
There we go.
All right. Yeah, so Bart, you notice that as you guys made it through into the Sea District, you're still able to kind of look through the gate and look to the other side of the gate. And after a few moments, it seems like you get the sense that someone was following you guys still to the gate that you hadn't seen. And so you see a figure that's sort of standing on the other side of the gate that appears to have been following you. And when they are confronted with the security at the gate, they stop and turn around and seem to head back in the direction that you all had come from. So I guess you can confirm that you were being followed, but you feel like now you've finally reached a place where you're not being followed. So
Yeah. Excuse me. I guess Bart would probably quietly let everybody else know what he's seen behind us.
well, let's move away from the gate and line of sight.
okay.
Oh, so you think we lost him, Bart?
I think they went off, back into the other district after they were confronted at the gates there. Your prowess and renown got us through more easily.
Let's see, what else will you guys notice? So yeah, I mean, there's as you guys sort of, let's say, decide to move away from the gate, and you find some alleyways and walkways that you want to start to head down. You definitely see a lot of fishermen and shipbuilders and people that are dressed as sailors, who seem to make their living off of the sea, moving about, as well as maybe some merchants, things like that. There are several signs that you see that are kind of posted for people looking for work in the docks. So you get the sense that there's work to be had, and this is a place where they're finding new people to man the ships. Let's see. There are several outfitters. There's a cargo store, and some other businesses related to seagoing trades. and that's about the extent of the district as far as from where you're at currently. Um, Anything that you guys want to try to seek out or anything like that?
We
Oh,
were headed to the quartermasters, right? Or was it the harbor master? Trying to remember.
Yeah, you did get a tip from, I believe it was your contact at the arena or the Coliseum had given you a tip that there is a harbor master that you can seek out to try to find a vessel. But you know, like you're now that you're here and you're close enough to the port, I mean, you start to get the sense that there would be a lot of choices as far as getting on different ships. Now, whether or not those ships are headed in the direction that you want, or whether or not they're going to make a side trip to take you to where you want to be, that's a different story. So, you would all have to kind of almost, I think, decide on how you want to approach that. If you're looking to hire a ship, specifically to take you and deliver you, to point in place, or if you're looking to tag along with an existing vessel that might be traveling by. It seems like all of those options would be available to you here because of the frequency of ships coming and going from port.
did we want to take a ship out?
I mean, I think. Go ahead, Mithra.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, a part of our thought was to go back towards the Isle of Presper. I thought. I know Ronnie wanted to search out some lost treasures and whatnot, and I've had
We did leave a few
these
things
visions.
behind.
Yeah, I've had these vision callings to go back there. Like there's something waiting for us, and I think as far as our branding or tattoo, it seems like there may be some answers there yet to be found.
Yeah.
Indeed, wise one. How far was this island?
Oh, it was halfway between here and what was the city that we came
Westgate.
from? Westgate. Yeah.
Yeah, here, I'll move you
It was
guys.
about halfway between where we're at now and Westgate then.
Seems like it was a fairly substantial journey, if I recall. It was a week or more at sea, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the whole
Somewhere
way.
right around
Yeah.
the north side of this Isle of Presper, because we never actually got onto the island. It was one of the small islands right around the Isle of Presper. I'm not even sure if it's on the map, actually.
It probably isn't. It's
Probably too small.
yeah, but it is beside the Isle of Presper. Yep.
Yeah, somewhere on the north, right here. Somewhere out there. Yeah,
Seems like
because
a lot.
we,
Go ahead.
because there we found the lost city of the dwarves there. We thought maybe, and there was a Medusa there too. So that was not at second level. We weren't quite ready to take her on.
What
Yeah.
is this about the lost city of the dwarves, Urza? I've not heard of such a thing.
There is a, as far as I know, it was something that let me see here. Grimax was wanting to pursue. We had found a long lost, I'll call it a story, of a seaborne dwarves somewhere in the Sea of Fallen Stars here that has a lot of magic and other lost items. And we had found what we had thought might be an entrance point. But it was definitely an entrance point to somewhere because there were several levels of further tunnels and habitation from the looks of it. But because of the Medusa, we decided to retreat because we were at the point where we had no spells left, no magic, and the fish people were coming back to their lair, which is where it was at. So
Yeah, I think that the group was had decided to follow the Sahagin when you were aboard the ship coming from Westgate.
Yeah.
There were a couple of shady characters on the boat with you, and at some point or another, it became apparent that one of them was either a Sahagin or made contact with Sahagin. And when you were at sea before the Isle of Presper, there was a Sahagin ship that actually came and embarked in battle with your ship. And as they sort of turned and left the scene, I think your group had decided to track them and eventually were able to follow them back to their small island called the Trader's Isle. And it's a small island just off of the Isle of Presper where I think actually what if I remember, I want to say Ronnie and Bart might have been on the ship, or somebody was on the ship with the Sahagin. They had been loaded along with that's what it was.
both
That's what it was.
Bart
think
and
yeah,
I think
there was.
I think it was Ronnie. It was just Ronnie. Bart would not have survived that
Yeah, it was.
it might have been
because Ronnie
it
got
was-
separated from us.
It was the ranger that we had and Ronnie at the time.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
you
because
guys
there were
followed.
two people.
You followed them, and then what essentially happened was once you found this Sahagin lair, it was a pretty their numbers were small enough that the group was big enough and still capable enough that you were able to go through the Sahagin lair pretty effectively. But
Yeah.
it became apparent that there were a lot more Sahagin that were going to be coming back. And so I think that as you were investigating, you stumbled into this lair, and when you went deeper into the lair, it turned out that it was an entrance to an ancient dwarven civilization. And I think Kurza had found some books and documents that he had read through that referred to it as Talmanthar. And so
We found a key and some other things like that I think we still have.
Yeah, as
Or I still have.
far as I know, you guys have kept all of those things. And essentially, yeah, as you went deeper and deeper into this dwarven kingdom, it looked like many of the dwarves had been turned to stone in some of the rooms that you were able to access. And then ultimately, you heard some noise. You were able to kind of get a vantage point where you saw the Medusa, like you talked about. And I think that was when you had to make a tough decision about, getting out of there and leveling up and coming back, or going for it. And I think based on where things were and knowing that there were Sahagin coming back, you got out of there. And since then, I think that's been calling you back somewhat, because you haven't really figured out fully what's happened to the dwarven settlement. And I think you've also learned when you were in Raven's Bluff just how rare of a place this was that you found. So at this point, you might be amongst a handful of people in all of Faerun that even know how to get entry to this lost dwarven
Or that there's
colony.
some place to get entry to, because it was
Right.
behind a secret door, if I recall correctly, that required a key that we have.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there was
Yes.
another depth to it.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking about it, because it feels like there's a lot of wealthy dwarves here, and maybe we could find a patron to pay for some of like the ship, in exchange for something.
Okay.
Probably
Yes.
cash.
Did we? I don't remember. Did we keep any of the old dwarven like documents and text that we had or anything? Or
I do.
Mm-hmm.
that that might be of interest to them, I guess, if
Yeah,
we're trying to gain,
Yeah, because the Sahaquin were busily trying to acquire books on specific topics, and I think they were one of the ones who were looking for this particular city. So it's possible we might have some of the books that they don't,
yeah. If
which
you have
would be,
some documents that would prove that we're not just talking to the moon, making stuff up.
oh yeah,
Okay, so it
yeah.
sounds like you're thinking of the dwarven angle, that maybe you could find a dwarven led or dwarven staffed ship or something like that.
Yeah, or a wealthy dwarf that is interested in the lost city of the dwarves, that
Yeah.
would pay for that ship passage and whatnot. Because that's a lot. I'm sure it's expensive, especially if we're going to have them wait on us, or,
Mm-hmm.
right?
If you're trying to take the whole ship out there, it's a little more it might be a little bit more difficult and certainly more expensive, but
Oh yeah.
possible.
And then the idea of it's just having them drop us there makes me nervous. I don't want to get trapped on this isle.
No, because there's not really any way off the Isle.
Okay, so
And
I'll have you. Let's see. Let's have you guys each roll a wisdom check again. I'm gonna have you um, recall.
there we go. Let's see. A wisdom check. Oh, that should be entertaining for me.
Wow. Okay, so I'll kind of give each of you a little bit of different information because you all rolled well. You all passed the check, and this is just kind of based on the fact that you're thinking about dwarves now. Um, so when you were in the adventurers district and the merchant district next to it, you remember seeing one part of town where there were a lot of goldsmiths, gem cutters, and gem trading, and it seemed like there were a fair amount of dwarves there that were involved in those trades. And I think it's reasonable for you, and this would be for Bart, to assume that they would be wealthy enough, as far as securing a ship or maybe hiring or supporting you, right? Something along those lines. So if you're thinking of rich dwarves, you can think of a handful of them that you saw back in that section of town. And I would say for Amithra, you already, when you were actually in the gladiator pits and you were working for some of the people there were a couple of dwarves mixed amongst that group, and I think you would have learned from them in your short time there that there are some sort of dwarven-led ships that would be in port. So you would know like that there's that option that you could seek out sort of a ship of dwarves specifically just from your interaction back there. And then I think for Kurza, again, I think you're realizing in the sea district where you're at now, because you guys aren't in the harbor yet, but in the sea district where you are right now, it seems like a lot of you might have more ability here to hire people to do things on the lowdown. So you kind of feel like if you go the other two directions, like if you go to the port and you try to seek out a ship of dwarves, that might be pretty obvious, and that if you go for a wealthy dwarven supporter, that might also be something that could be found out. And so your sense is that you might have a better chance of finding somebody who's a little shady in this part of town, um, who's a dwarven, or who could connect you to somebody who might keep it more under wraps. So that's sort of maybe what you guys would notice. I mean, this town is more human than anything, so you would have all remembered seeing some dwarves here, but those would be like the specific memories each of your characters would have.
Yeah, that's good thinking, Kurza. We don't want to attract any more undue attention to ourselves.
Oh, I do have. We passed out a lot of gold and stuff last time around,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of mine is gone because we were getting like several hundred gold a piece, and none of that translated back.
Let me scroll up and see what you guys, if you typed in what your.
We had like 3 platinum pieces that were, we couldn't distribute, which means we all got at least 1 platinum piece, several hundred gold each, and a pile of silver and some coppers.
Yeah, so what about like these potions? You had a potion of ESP, you had a potion of stone giant control, you had a
Yeah.
filter of persuasiveness. Were those things that were added to specific character sheets as well?
I remember Bart got a bunch.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I've got a
They
note
should
here
have.
that's these are not on my sheet, but I do have them listed here. The ESP, giant control,
Okay. So those are
filter of
there.
persuasiveness, levitation. There were 3 unidentified potions
Right. Okay.
from the Knolls. I need to add it back to my sheet maybe because I don't see it there, but I did jot it down on side here.
Okay. Then that's good. So here it is. I got it, Curza. This.
Money wise, I don't know though.
Well, there is. It looks like Curza, you typed it in.
Yeah.
So
I typed it in to let everybody else know.
It was this. This is what I just pulled out of there.
Ah.
I went all the way back, and so that's what was distributed last time to each player.
Yeah, I remember adding it to my cache, but I don't actually have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't have any platinum, so I'll record this.
Yeah, record this, and then I can maybe switch back at some point to see what else was on your character sheets, coinage wise, to see if just in case something got missed there. I mean, I don't remember you having hundreds of gold each, but I think each of you would have had a little bit, obviously more than this. So
yeah, when you compare, you could maybe open. No, I guess. Remember how you made a copy of it? Maybe you could make a copy, change the other sheet, and then log in with a different browser. And
yeah.
compare that. I don't know.
No, that's probably what I'll have to do. Let's see.
Yeah, because the inventory and loot seems to be accurate. It's just the I don't know why my cache didn't translate.
Yeah, that's what I knew there'd be something. There would be at least one, thing, and that's not necessarily a small thing. Let me see.
No, because all of a sudden we had money we could actually spend.
Yeah, there was a way I could duplicate the game instance, and then if I duplicated, I could switch the new game instance to the old sheet and see if it shows 1 second. Well, I mean, regardless of the number, right? We'll find the number and make sure we make you whole. I think it's more of just up to the group as far as what your strategy will be.
Yeah, I think we're the stuff you found is enough to, because that's 12 platinum is what, 120 gold.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's
So
times 3 of you, so
right,
it's a significant amount. Yeah.
right. So I don't. We don't need to necessarily get every last little copper accounted
Yeah,
for, but
but we will figure it out. We will get it right, just so that eventually, when you do need to go back to your coinage, you have the right amount. I want to make sure we get that fixed. So I'll chase that down. But yeah, you're right. I think for now, for purposes of
yeah,
your decision,
it's
this
not that
shouldn't
big
prevent
deal.
you. So I think
Yeah,
you've got a
so
couple different options. I mean, you can go a number of different directions. Of course, right now I think what Kurza would feel is just that you're in a good place right now because you're not being followed right where you're currently at,
yeah,
and that if you do try to go and leave this district, that you could potentially be spotted again. But
yeah, because
there's risk.
while we're in here, if he stayed on the outside, he's probably going to try and make contact with his other people so that they can track us when we leave. And so we may have the same problem there when we leave. But I do have, let's see, silver key with ancient dwarven saying Tel Manthar on it. I have the dark gaze cloak with a dagger. 6 books of ancient dwarven history from the Isle of Prosper. And 4 books from the Knoll's Lair.
Yeah.
So I think we have at least 6 books that they never got, which is probably good. And, well, we have the key.
So
all the better.
Yeah. What do you think would be? What do you think would be the approach then? Are you going to try to find an establishment here in the Sea District, or do you want to try to spot and follow dwarves, or I mean, that kind of.
Was there any dwarven presence in the Sea District? Because like one of the dwarves we met on the island that we rescued was Ursake or
Mhm.
Ursake.
Yeah, a couple of
And they were more of a seafaring
They were.
dwarf.
dwarves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if they have any presence here that we might be able to
I think
make
we left them
contact
in
with.
Raven's Bluff, though, didn't we?
Well,
Yeah, they were.
but yeah, I think to your point, there certainly are a group or a contingent of sailors that would be dwarven. Like there might be people walking down the street. I guess, are you trying to just look for dwarves that are out and about on the street, or are you thinking that you're gonna try to go somewhere where you could interact with them, or?
I could do for a drink after that fight.
That's
The-
usually a good
the
place
other-
to interact.
The other possibility is we go back to Raven's Bluff and try and find the 2 of them, but that's kind of a long shot.
Or send a messenger, maybe, or like,
Yeah, but that involves
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
discovery. And
I
we
don't-
know the Raven's Bluff had a lot of the enemy, shall we say, in it. Because a lot of people were compromised, shall we say.
I don't recall if we ever found out where Ursake was, where he hailed from, actually. I don't know if we ever find that out, or because I know we parted ways in Raven's Bluff. But
Actually, you guys remember that he and the other dwarf who was with him were working on ships that were sailing to Procampur. So I think it would be that would be sort of indicative of the fact that there are regularly some group of dwarves here that are sailors. So, if you want to find a drink, you guys actually can pretty quickly see a couple of real dive bars that are clustered together inside of the Sea District, and one of them is called the Smelly Anchor. And when you get into or around the Smelly Anchor, it looks like the perfect place where you would be able to run across all walks of life, from sea trading and captaining ships and things along those lines. So if you want to make your way into that establishment, you can do that. There's definitely an opportunity to, go that route.
Might as well.
Yeah, that's as good as any.
All right, so it's kind of like, again, it's like
Thanks, man.
maybe early evening right now, and so you guys decide to slide into the Smelly Anchor, which is really looks like a converted barn and stable that's been now converted into a drinking establishment. When you enter into the Smelly Anchor, you can see that there's about a dozen patrons who are all kind of clustered together and seated at a bar along the back wall. And then strewn about the room, there are what they've done is they've taken barrels and put like a shield on the top of it to make it a table. And so there's a lot of people just standing at these barrels, using the barrels as small tabletops. It looks like there are a couple of looks like actually half elf and a human are serving and walking around and picking up and distributing drinks. And from what you can tell, the choice of drinks looks like it's probably limited to a handful of different meads and porters that all seem to be local things. And then there's some sort of stouter drinks and bottles that are available at the bar. And then as far as food is concerned, you do see quite a bit of seafood being eaten and consumed in the place. And you're not exactly sure, what the choices there are, but it seems like there'd be something there to tide you over. So you guys could find a table or place to stand where quickly a woman walks up to you and says, "What can I do for you?"
A bottle of port or something like that?
Bottle of
Well,
port.
Whatever,
Oh.
whatever you
Well,
got in the bottles there.
We're near the port, but we don't drink port over here. What?
Well, what do you have in bottles?
Oh, well, I could bring you something. I could bring you one of the. I could bring you some King's Ransom.
Sure, why not?
If you like a stiff drink.
Sure.
The King's been stiffing us for years. So she will at that what anything to eat.
Time to take some back.
Will you be having a bite tonight?
I will.
no food for me, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have a king's ransom as well. I'm guessing you don't have any fire wine.
No, I'm sorry, we don't have any of that right now.
I'll take your strongest. If it's the king's ransom, then that is what it is.
All right, 3 King's Ransom coming up, and I'll bring you a menu. And she kind of laughs at that, but she walks off and heads back to the bar. And so you guys are able to survey the room a little bit. Let's see. Let me have Chris. Can you roll percentiles?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys would take notice of the demographics in the room, and certainly right now you do see that there's a group of 2 dwarves that are seated at the bar area together, engaged in their own conversation, and they look very much like they are working class dwarves who are employed in the docks. So they would catch your eye, and then I think as far as the rest of the crowd is concerned, there's another gentleman that stands out to you. He's not a dwarf though; he's a human, and he appears to be dressed as if he's a little bit more. Maybe he's an official or a part of the captain crew, something like that. He seems like he's dressed a little bit more fancy, and the way he carries himself seems like he might be somebody who's got a little bit more authority, right? But everybody else seems like they're more working class and what you would expect. So she brings your drinks back, and she actually just brings the bottle over and puts the bottle in the center, puts a couple of jars out for you guys to drink from. You can pour your own drinks as she kind of sets it down and just wanders off pretty quickly. So you guys can partake in the King's Ransom. And for those of you that do, it's a pretty stiff drink. It's got some bite, and definitely doesn't have as strong of an aftertaste as it does a foretaste. So the aftertaste is smoother than the beginning. And it seems like a lot of the people in here are drinking this, and also some of them are drinking meads, and those seem to be the most common drinks here.
Before she leaves us, our table, I tell her to go buy a round of drinks for those dwarves over there.
Mm.
Is that all right with you two? Put that on our tab? Yeah.
Okay. It looks like the dwarves are drinking the mead, and so she'll collect from you for your drinks, and for the dwarves, she'll collect 5 silver. So whoever wants to
I can do it.
5 silver, and then your drinks are paid for, and she says, I'll get right on that. And after a few minutes, she's able to get over there, and you see her refilling their mugs for them, and they're kind of like looking around the room, and eventually one of them looks over and makes eye contact with you if you're looking their way.
Yeah.
And they'll give you they'll lift the tankard with a huzzah.
The same. Anybody speak dwarf here? Dwarven? No.
Wait,
That's a good question.
Nope.
let me see here.
I think you're the most linguist of the group.
Ancient Dwarven.
Well, that's...
Ancient,
Don't know if
there's got to be like a catchphrase or some kind
Mhm.
of popular word from ancient dwarves that maybe the current dwarves still use here and there, but
Yeah, it might be. I don't know if this would be the case or not, but I would think that there would be
they probably know
fair
common if
amount.
they're
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like
if-
you would
Oh, yeah,
expect they know
sure.
common, but I think the idea of talking to them in Dwarven would be a way to connect with them. And I think basically I agree with what Adam's saying, is that ancient Dwarven would have some crossover. Like, you may not understand all the words, but you would certainly glean from it that the person is speaking in Dwarvish and ancient Dwarvish if you're a dwarf. And you may not, be able to communicate fully that way, but you would get your point across that you know ancient Dwarven. So
Yeah. He might know a few
Yeah.
words, like hello or something,
mm-hmm.
or an idiom, like Adam said.
Yeah, when they huzzad, we can always do the whatever Dwarven equivalent would be.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
or what is it? Speak, friend, and enter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think again, like, just based on the fact that you just bought them the drink, they're probably just enjoying the drink more than taking any action. But anything you guys want to do? Anything else you guys want to do while you're seated?
Well, we should, if they, if we introduce ourselves to them or they introduce themselves to us, then maybe, we just tell them we've had good run-ins with dwarves, and we find that it's, I don't know, polite to make friends with them.
Yeah, I mean,
we help them, they help us.
I think at this point they the deed that you've done is nice enough that they would be very approachable, but they're not making any effort to like come and seek you out.
Yeah, I tell them one of my best friends is a dwarf. Sadly, he passed away. He was a fight organizer named Sambo back in Raven's Bluff.
Okay, so you're gonna walk up and talk to them and let them know that. Okay.
Yeah. I want to get to know him.
Okay.
See,
So yeah. So let's see. This is. He says. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But this drink is for Sambo.
he was a master of the game. He taught me everything I know.
Oh, so you are a fighter.
I am. Name's Artemi. I just fought tonight.
It's an honorable trade. Did you do well?
I did.
And the other one sort of smacks him.
And we're
says,
celebrating.
She's alive, isn't she? She must have done well.
That's why I'm here drinking. I'm celebrating. In fact, can I get you boys another round?
Absolutely. We would love to celebrate further with you.
So I order another round for them and finish off mine.
Okay.
Another round for me. Yeah.
So they
If the bottle's not empty, then I finish it.
they notice. What about the other guys? What are you guys gonna do? Are you going over to talk?
Well, I'll grab the bottle and bring it with me and go over and introduce myself and fill their glasses and.
Okay. All right.
Bart will kind of follow with picking up what other scraps or cups we've left behind. And
Yeah. So let me have you all roll charisma checks. See how they react to you guys. I mean, you have a favorable setup because of the fact you've bought them a few drinks, but this will just sort of be your personal impression on them. I think it's fitting. I think Bart is like mysterious. Like he's, not the warm, fuzzy guy. He's just not. But okay. So yeah, I think so. Again, the one I was kind of curious about too was for Kurza, right? How will the dwarves react to a full-blooded elf who is apparently a magic user being in their midst? And they seem pretty comfortable with you. Walking over with the bottle seems to have disarmed anything they would have judged you for. And so yeah, their reaction seems positive to you guys joining them. Bart's just the odd one, so maybe they've not engaged Bart. They don't know how to look him in the eye, so they don't know exactly how to interact with Bart. But otherwise, you've struck up a conversation, and they introduced themselves as Valon and Freylov. And Valon is sort of the more talkative of the two, and he asks you. He says, "Where do you hail from? Certainly haven't seen you around these parts." And he's kind of looking at your gear, just kind of like taking it all in, from your gear and the things that you're wearing, which might be the first time it strikes you,
Well, I'm from the West, Westgate most recently, but that was just in passing through.
Westgate.
Yeah, I used to be a negotiator for some businesses and things like that.
We've done quite a few trips to Westgate. It's
Ah,
a lawless place.
yeah, it can be.
There's some good money to be made there in the underworld, but there's a lot of a lot of uh, bills to pay, as they say.
True. Indeed.
What about the
I'm
others?
from I'm from Mulhorand. I've been fighting my way all the way down from the frozen north. I don't tell them I'm a Rashami, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's close enough. That's a neighbor, so they get the
Yeah,
sense of my yeah.
yeah. They would be impressed by the fact that you've traveled that far, as well, because they've never been to the north, that far north, especially. So, and what of
Where
you, friend?
Bard would just say that he's found his way here via Westgate as well.
Westgate. Well, cheers to you. We welcome you to Procampur. Although it's not our home base, we spend quite a bit of time here with our employment.
Ah,
what do you do for work?
We are sailors. We are both sailors.
oh.
We
We dropped off a couple of dwarven sailors in Ravensbluff not long ago. They had come upon some hard times with some Sahaquin, and we
mm,
basically got them back to civilization.
you see one of them spits on the floor at the mention of Sahagin. He spits on the floor, and the other one, kind of they both tip their glass up to drink after that because they're wretched creatures. Sahagin.
Indeed, they are. We killed many.
And the seas around here are thick with them, aren't they?
They
Yes, actually.
they seem to be at times. There are times when they seem unavoidable, and other times when you don't see them for long stretches, which I prefer.
Strangely, I've seen them. They had a boat that attacked our boat, or ship that attacked our ship. It was very weird. Sahaquin captaining boats or ships. A very weird thing.
Uh, there are there are rumors of this amongst our peoples, but we have not personally been attacked or seen Sahagin aboard ships. They seem more inclined to sneak aboard and under the cloak of night and bury their dagger into as many people as they can before escaping with what they can grab. But
Yeah,
you say if they're that organized and they have a ship and um, then
yeah,
they must be
somewhere between
operating in
here and
numbers.
Westgate, actually.
Well, this is a pretty normal trade route. We haven't been to Westgate in some time, but we have always heard different rumors, various rumors of Sahagin and other
Keep your eyes open at
creatures.
night then, because they may come at you
Well, our captain
on
is
that route.
pretty strict about who he allows aboard, and we tend to keep to our own, meaning dwarves. But there are some ships that seem to have a lot more blend and crossover, and I think that those ships carry a lot more risk because you don't know who the passengers are and what they're doing and what their intentions are.
Yeah, sometimes that is the case.
But we actually mostly trade between here and Cormyr, and sometimes we are in Sembia. We are up towards the Dale Lands often, and so that's been our most common trade route lately. But we've been all over the Sea of Fallen Stars, at least to the ports that would have us. There are some ports that are hostile still that we wouldn't dare encroach.
Ah, yeah. Well, there's always ports like that.
Indeed,
Some are more open than others.
indeed. But at the end of the day, when you have money to be made and you can enrich those around you, they seem to open up their gates. So
Hmm.
we have been we have we have a pretty good reputation in most of the ports that we frequent.
Money makes the
Excellent.
world go round.
Indeed, it does. But the drinks help too. And with that, they will get another round of beverages. And at that point too, um, the the lady who was helping you earlier, she brings over a small platter that has some different vegetables and some fish and other um, shellfish and things like that on it. It's like a small sort of sample of the different things that they make there, and she sets that down for you so that you guys can at least try some of the food that they have. And when she does that, the dwarves like right away reach over and start helping themselves to it. So
I'll take a little bit of everything just to try this and that and the other.
okay, yeah, I think that you would be impressed by the quality of the seafood actually.
Oh,
For as rundown of a place and part of town as this is, you're quite impressed by the quality of the seafood. So the vegetables and the rest of it though doesn't seem like it's the freshest stuff. But the seafood
well,
itself is up to your standard. So
most good.
I suppose Bart will carefully take a few nibbles under his silvered mask, but
I think the dwarves would be fascinated by that. They would be like, "What?"
he should like slightly lift it up and like feed in a couple tiny nibbles and give an approving nod.
They'll be like watching you, like drinking their, watching what you're doing. Yeah. So
Bart,
Alina, I still haven't seen his real face yet.
I was just going to ask that. Have I ever seen your face, Bart? Or no?
I think it's on most of the time. Perhaps like
Wow.
in the dead of night, I'm bringing it out from like
It
cold
falls
sweats
off.
from the memories of all our encounters. But yeah.
yeah,
Take it off to sleep.
that's a great question. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, would they have ever seen your face? I almost imagine it that
Hmm.
they've maybe each caught a glimpse of it at a certain angle, maybe even a silhouette of your face or just a portion of your face,
Yeah.
your mouth or your eye or your cheek or something. And so maybe between all of them they have a pretty complete picture, but each of them is sort of only has a small part. So they're not exactly sure, but um
Oh, you probably take it off to sleep, I imagine.
It's not very specific as far as the direction from the order, so you never know. Um,
Valen actually asks you guys as you're eating. He's like, "Have you ever run into any orcs or gnolls?"
Lots of knolls, especially on the other side of the mountain range, north of here.
Oh, so you've traveled the Earthfast Mountains?
Yeah, we came over.
Oh, from
It
Ravenswoof.
was
That's right. That's
we
right.
had to we ended up having to root out a lair of them.
Yeah, they were plaguing dragonfalls.
Yeah,
Well, anyone who exterminates gnolls is a friend of ours and a friend of dwarves everywhere. They have
You're
been
here.
they have been a
that's the
nuisance.
knolls.
Yeah, they will
I
drink to that.
propose a toast to that, and I say, yeah, I mean, you probably gathered that we're adventurers, but we're not that disreputable sort that you can't trust.
Oh, well, that's uh that's that's one way to put it. I
You
see.
know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I see.
Sometimes adventurers can be trouble, but that's not us. No, we're slayers of gnolls, and we do what's right.
Well, you need not worry. We're in no favor of the way Procampur is governed. We we use its port to enrich ourselves, and we come and go, and it is certainly not a place we would choose to take residence here in Procampur. Um, and that's when I think they will explain to you a little bit more about the city and how heavy-handed they are in each of the districts, particularly, and how when you get to the C district, it starts to become a little bit less overbearing. And they describe to you that the harbor is the only place where there is no presence of guards or anything, that the harbor runs completely free. The rest of the town and every other district is completely controlled, but because of all the benefits they get from having an open harbor, there's literally no guards or anything in the harbor area. So you're kind of in that section right next to the harbor, where there's still a few, scattered guards and things in this area, but again, even from your experience in other districts, there's so much less of it and so much less control and governance here. So, yeah, they would basically, shed that light on the situation for you, that they love the harbor because it's a free harbor, and there's a lot of opportunity in the harbor here. It's just ironic that it's connected to a city that's ruled a little bit with a heavy hand. From their point of view.
Noticed that. We have noticed that as well, having difficulty moving between the districts because of the guards.
And they'll be watching you and following you, particularly if you're new here.
Ah.
They don't seem to take terrible notice of us over here in the C district, but
Yeah, I've taken notice of people following us here and there.
How safe is the C district without any guards? I mean, don't you worry about thieves?
Oh, there is definitely a lot of thieves that operate in Procampur, but I think they do so in a way where they know not to disrupt those of us who bring trade to the city. And there's been a lot of effort to hunt down and seek out some of the thieves guilds and groups that operate here. So they pretty much stay hidden most of the time, but crime does happen.
We've noticed a couple of them I've seen have this tattoo of a flaming knife on their arms and things. I'm not sure what that's all about, but
okay.
That kind of tells me they're part of a larger group, though. Have you ever noticed anything like that?
So, yeah, so you get...
Art coughs loudly and, pulls his robes down a little bit.
Yeah, so Valen gives you a raised eyebrow at the mention of that. And so he says, I have seen them before. I do know of their nefarious group. What business would they have following you?
That's what we're trying to figure out. I'm not sure if they're following us for any specific reason, or who knows. It's just something I observed.
Yeah,
so they may have just been traveling with us rather than following us. I'm not certain.
Yeah, it seems...
didn't know what they were.
It seems
they
like
seem like a nefarious sort.
They are, and I think you would see in Valen's face that he looks a little bit more concerned than his partner about what you mentioned.
I kick hers under the table.
Yeah, so he seems like he's a little more cautious after he hears that they've been following you and looking for you and that sort of thing. But he doesn't stop talking or anything. But he definitely looks like his demeanor was affected by that piece of news. But as it is, they will continue drinking and eating with you, And
Well, in any case, we'll be leaving town in a few days, I think. But
Yeah, actually,
where are you
we're
off
looking to
to?
hire a ship, and I was going to ask you if you had any recommendations, captains and ships. We want to go to the Isle of Presper.
Isle of Presper. What's worth going to the Isle of Presper for? There's not much trade.
I hear there's riches there. For those who are brave enough to defeat the evil.
Well, certainly there are several ships for hire. I don't know about their willingness to take you to the Isle of Presper, but I'm sure if you make the right offer, you could procure some travel there. What would be the duration of your trip?
yeah, maybe a week or two. I'm thinking it might be easier just to have them drop us off and come back in a couple weeks, rather than have them stay in the area.
So you notice that the one dwarf at that suggestion is not Valen, the other Freyloff. He says, well, we could ask our, and as he says that, Valen kind of nudges him and shuts him up for a second. So you kind of get the sense that they have two different points of view on helping you, but that it seems like there are options.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. I wasn't imagining that we would book passage on yours, but hoping that you might give us some insight on, the captains and who might be willing to take on such a task.
Well, I'll tell you who not to travel with.
That's good information.
Very.
So they give you a couple of names.
To avoid.
Give you, and they're like they basically start to tell you, and you hear them kind of like saying a list of names to one another. And one guy will say a name out loud, and the other guy will kind of shake his head like, "Oh yeah, he's okay," and the other guy will say a name, and then the other guy will be like, "No, you can't trust him." And so eventually they agree on a couple of different names that they tell you not to take passage. And so they say if you hear of any ships being led by Libmil, Surlag, or Winnick, do not board those vessels. I'm sure you will be cheated or worse.
And what were those names again that he just gave us?
They're in the chat.
I pasted
They're
it.
in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One of them looks very, very familiar.
Oh?
Winnick.
Yeah.
You know of this man?
We've had some dealings, yes.
Well, then I assume he tried to kill you?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd say it was almost worse. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, there is that.
If you're advising we good, Winnick, I can be assured that you speak truth.
Oh yeah.
Well,
You certainly do.
he has
If you know.
a bad reputation. He's had a bad reputation for years, and he hasn't shown his face here lately. But if you do hear his name, he's not to be trusted, but it sounds like you may know more than we know.
He was seen in Raven's Bluff a few, however long ago we were there. A month ago, something like that. You have to tell us, Jamie.
Yeah, it would have been about a month, probably. I would say.
Yeah,
something
so
like that. So, close to.
he was there about a month ago.
Well, I'm sure he won't be showing his face in these parts for a while after he ripped off the city. He took
Really now?
he took on a shipment for the city that was supposed to be delivered to Cormyr, and somehow or other it never arrived. And they've
Really?
been looking for him and asking all of us for his name for, well, it's finally cooled off now, but there was a time when you couldn't go a day without being asked if you'd seen the man.
Where is Cormyr on the map here?
It's over here.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Mhm.
I was looking for cities rather than a country.
So,
Interesting. What were they transporting? Do you know?
yeah, books, I think. I've seen they came to the city and they bought books and scrolls and loaded them onto the ship, and they even had some officials from Procampur helping them. We knew that Winnick was probably not the best choice, but he must have given them the best price, or some type of assurance that his delivery would be true. However, it never arrived.
We heard that he was looking for dwarven books specifically.
Hmm.
Know anything about any of that might be in the area? Because otherwise he'll be coming back for that sort of stuff.
Well, we don't know exactly what the books were that he was getting. There were several agents that seemed to be working in tandem with the city, and our own government here was the group that had employed Winnick to make the delivery. So they probably know more about what the contents of those books were. Not as if we're much readers.
Interesting. What you gentlemen have learned. There's all kinds of interesting things going on.
The other thing is that last week, 3 ships from Cormyr arrived in port and were greeted at port by soldiers of the king and brought before him. And it was noticeable to everybody that there was a large contingent of Cormyrian knights and purple dragons, as they call themselves, in and about the city, and mostly watching over their ships for several days. And then suddenly they left in the middle of the night a couple of days ago, probably close to the time you all arrived in Procampur. So there's been rumors that this was fallout from Winnick's lack of delivery, that they came looking for the items that were promised them, or to resolve the matter. I don't know much more about it. These things are well above our head in more way than one.
Oh, hey, there's always things going on, right?
Certainly. That's why we love the harbor, and we love life at sea. The days go by quickly, and before you know it, you're in a tavern drinking with some fine friends like yourselves. How about another pint?
Indeed. I pour some more of the... Do we have any of this liquor left? Let's finish off the bottle there.
I think they're drinking the mead, but they'll switch to the liquor for sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's finish the
the
bottle. Let's finish them.
Okay.
You're here.
I'll just kind of sip mine, and because I'm not, I don't want to drink that much, but definitely make it look good.
Let's have you make wisdom checks again, please. Or does anyone have observation? I don't know if I think that might be Ronnie.
No, that's Ronnie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything that would approach that.
Yeah, Mithra's getting a little tipsy. Her judgment is way off.
Yeah.
I do have
I
a
mean-
brewing skill, but that's about it.
Considering the roll, it looks like Bark may have had a few more sips than he planned on as well.
Well, I think, yeah, I think what you might notice is, and this would be Bart that would notice this barely, as he's, partaking as well, that it looks like these dwarves look kind of similar to Ursake, the one that you guys rescued at sea and brought back. They look kind of similar, but not exactly. They're sort of their features, their facial features look more standard, versus Ursake had sort of a longer, deep set eyes and more unique facial features. Um, and I think that you might recall that they were of a group of dwarves who were actually seeking out Talmanther, right? And so there was a group of dwarves whose mission it was to find Talmanther, and you don't remember what the names of or the type of dwarf that they were, but it starts to strike you that these dwarves are different than they were, and so that might be noticeable to you that this is sort of a different, slightly different group of dwarves, but similar in the sense that they're definitely seaworthy dwarves, which there's not that many of.
Yeah.
Are there any dwarven enclaves on the Sea of Fallen Stars?
Yeah, that's what you if you recall, that's what Ursake and I think it's Jai2 was the other one. They had told you that they were from a colony of dwarves that are in the Pirate Isles. They're stationed in the Pirate Isles, and they spend their time in and around the Pirate Isles, and that their goal was to find Talmanthar, and that they had found it. You had found them in Talmanthar, if you remember. So they had actually found it, and their goal was to get back and report that to their colony. So
Yeah.
those are just some of the things that I think you would have observed.
Okay.
I might whisper to Kurza if it's you seem to have a better rapport at this point. If it might be worth mentioning our meeting or name dropping the dwarves we met previously, or the name Telmanther, perhaps.
Mm,
Or is that
well, I was kind of curious what ship these gentlemen are serving aboard.
We call her Lucy.
Lucy.
She's a schooner.
Ah,
That's the ship we've taken residence on lately.
small and fast.
It is a fairly small and fast ship. Normally we rotate. We will do several months aboard one ship, and then we'll take a new contract and go aboard another ship for another length. And we've got several weeks left on the Lucy. We won't
So you
be
guys
leaving town for another 2 days.
Oh, so you guys have been traveling together for a while, huh? Always helps to have a friend.
We have. It's
when you travel.
It's good to stay in pairs, at least.
That it is.
And certainly,
being dwarves and elves, we're not always welcome everywhere.
That's true. And when you make your way around town, make sure you stay in pairs at least too.
Oh yes, indeed.
So,
well, if you happen to see our friends, Ursake and what's the other guy's name?
Jai2.
Jai2. Tell them we said hi.
Yeah, so they don't seem to recognize the names, but they make a comment that well, those sound like ancient names.
Could be, I don't know.
It's good.
those are just the names that they were using. So
Certainly, we would have remembered those names had we encountered them, but we have not. So, sounds interesting.
I've got one last little bit of wisdom. I'm wondering if you can shine on me. You know, we're adventurers and always looking for work. Honest adventurer work. Do you know any merchants in town that hire adventurers to find things? I saw some well-to-do dwarven merchants at a couple shops.
Yes, I think that Thoden is someone that we've done business before. He's employed our ship in the past, and he is a gem trader. So we know of Thoden. He's
He can be trusted. He's
a
good
trustworthy
sort.
trader. He's definitely
Good.
an above-board trustworthy trader.
Good to know. Thank you.
But for each one of him, there are several who will offer you similar opportunity, but a lot more risk. So I'm sure you can find, that he will have opportunity and others would as well. But we've worked with him in the past, and at least being dwarves working with him, he seems to be trustworthy. And if you tell
most
him
excellent.
that you are friends of ours, it probably won't help you.
Never hurts though.
Maybe not. Perhaps not. But one thing we all have in common is that we do react well to drinks.
There we go. My the first dwarf I ever met, some 80 years ago, he was a good drinker and a good friend of mine. It ended up too. I'll have to go back and meet him later.
I don't trust a man that doesn't drink. You know, it brings out the honesty.
This is true wisdom. A warrior
Indeed.
and a wise one at that. Yeah, you guys also see that the gentleman who was sort of dressed in a little fancier, he leaves with a couple of others who were with him, and as he does, the dwarfs point out to you that he's actually a navigator aboard a galleon, and that the galleon is in port for another day, and that they're sailing towards Westgate. So when you said that earlier that you had been to Westgate, they remember that and mention this to you.
What's the name of the ship?
Let's see, what is the name of that ship? The Render is the name of
Render. Oh my.
the Render. Yeah.
Sounds like it's a galleon with some combat people, maybe.
So, Jamie, you said that the navigator sort fellow,
Mm-hmm.
he met up with some people and left. Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll see him around, or again.
Yeah, it's possible you'll see them again. They're wearing, that's when they would point out as well that he's got like a logo, like an arm patch logo that looks like a spyglass, and it's like a spyglass with a wave behind it, and so you would realize that that's the crest of their ship, and that you could identify the Render by that logo as well. And then the Lucy, their ship, they describe it to you. So, if you saw it in the harbor, chances are you would recognize it as well.
Okay.
What else can we do for you, friends? You've certainly made our nights much better.
Oh, your company is enough, but I guess
Certainly.
I'd like to know where we might find Bowden. He's got a shop in the Merchants District, or
Yes, he is. Thoden is at. He has a shop where he does gem cutting. In the Merchant District.
Hmm.
And he describes the area where it is, and you guys remember being in that area where there were a whole bunch of high-end shops in the Merchant District. So it's a place you would recall once he describes it. When you first got
not
here, I think you sold some stuff in that area. Before you went to the Adventurers District, you were in that Merchants District selling stuff. So you would know, generally speaking, where his shop is.
Did we sell all our gems already, Curza? Or do we still have...
Yeah, we traded everything
Yeah.
out, so
Okay.
we might have one or two left, but that's all.
If so, the dwarves will kind of mention to you. They say if you're looking for a place to stay, there is a good little I would say nondescript inn next door that is available only for sailors. But we could likely get you in with a quick word with our friend if you're looking for a low-key place to stay, knowing that that you're perhaps being pursued.
That's not a bad idea.
Indeed.
So just
But since you're staying there, we may come here and find you again, should we choose to do so, and we can go drinking once more. Perhaps more heartily, since we still have yet several quarters to travel tonight.
Well, then if you follow us, we'll get you in, and
All right.
make sure you have a safe place to stay this evening. So they'll do that. They'll basically settle up. Everybody will settle up, and you can leave and head next door to what looks like a converted storage building. That when you get there, they kind of open the door and walk in, and there's a set of steps, and you walk up to the top of the steps, and there's a human sitting there, and they speak to the human for a moment. That and they explain that that you all need a place to stay, and you don't want any questions. And the human looks at you and says, "Well, there's definitely one way that we could accommodate you, but it'll be a gold each." And the dwarves look like their eyebrows go up a little bit at that. You know that's a little expensive, certainly more than they're paying, but
Well, how about 2
very
total?
For the utmost discretion.
Oh, you wanna pay more for discretion? Then absolutely. We'll make sure no one knows of your presence. So you guys can pay 2 gold, and you will get a room where you can have shared. You can have basically a small room where you can all have a separate bed in the same area. And the dwarves will be staying in more of the barracks, kind of open bunk area next door to you all. So with that, I think we can pause. We'll take a mid-session break, and we'll pick up where you guys are staying here in the secure shelter with the dock workers, and we'll figure out what next steps you want to take. We'll take a short
Sounds
break.
good. I just have a question. Did we leave anything? We probably left some stuff at the suite in the Adventurers District inn that we were at.
I
do we
wouldn't leave anything.
No? Okay.
Probably
I wasn't sure.
Probably not.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking that you would have, unless you had.
Yeah. We're not traveling really heavy. We got rid of all our extra stuff.
You don't
so.
really have
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
either that is considered outlawed here.
And Gregor is with me, right? My retainer with the
That's right. That's right. I forgot about Gregor.
faithfully carrying the trident.
Yep. All right.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk
There
much.
you go.
All right.
We'll be right
We'll
back.
be back.
Great.
Alrighty.
When I don't. There you go. All right, everyone's back. So we'll pick it back up in your newly acquired room. You have secured beds for the evening in what seems to be a pretty calm and quiet alleyway here in the Sea District. And how do you guys want to arrange yourselves for the evening, or is there anything you want to do before you get some rest?
Sharpen my drusus. What else?
A sound the whole group would be more than familiar with at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case I have to use it soon. You know, gotta be ready.
The
Yeah.
sleepy repetition of a sword being sharpened.
Anybody else have any other preparations or things they wanted to discuss?
I guess I might ask Mithra and Kurza if we want to inquire about any errands we could have run. Like if there's anyone trustworthy, we could send out to the city to find information, specifically about Telmanther in general.
I'm not sure if I want to make it known we're looking for that. I mean, that'd be another easy way for them to find us, just by making those kind of inquiries. And they'd because they already know that we're involved in that.
I'm just wondering if the providers of this establishment might know someone who can inquire about things without drawing attention as well. We don't have a whole lot of resources in this town ourselves, so.
Well, they gave us a lead on a ship that's leaving that could take us where we want to go. So it's not unheard of.
The navigator?
Yeah. Yeah, because if his boat is heading out towards Westgate, we could always inquire if they'd like to drop us off at a particular island, shall we say.
Yeah, like so you're right. You two are thinking like we get out before they even notice that we're gone, right? Like they never let them catch wind of us again, and
Kinda.
there's wisdom in that.
This guy could sell us out just because he knows we're not trying to be found and figure he can make money on both ends. You know, we pay him, they pay him to find us, and strange stuff like that.
The proprietor of this establishment, you mean?
It's possible.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I feel like we can trust those.
The two dwarves I'd trust. The guy at the top of the stairs, not so much.
Yeah, as soon as the dwarves said not to trust Winnick, I think they won my favor. So
yeah.
They became trustworthy.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we might need some more supplies before we go to the Isle, right?
Oh yeah.
You say there's a
Um,
Medusa. Isn't the legend, yeah, that they turn you to stone? So perhaps there's some Walmart
Um,
magic that we could.
I'm thinking it's not so much legend because we found
mm,
5 extremely lifelike statues that of dwarves trying to defend the gateway that were all
Let me just take you
used to be live, I'm sure.
to an old
ooh,
screen here.
an old memory here. Yeah.
Oh wow.
These, I think in your inebriation, you're probably having some real vivid dreams this evening and remembering this place.
Oh yeah.
But to your point, I think it was pretty clear that these um, dwarves had been frozen in place.
Mid swing in many cases.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's some magic to recover from such a fate, or to protect from such a fate. At
Oh,
least,
there is.
yeah.
A stone to flesh spell, perhaps. But I think at this point that would be beyond my
Our means.
yeah. We may not even be able to buy the boat services with the meager funds that we have.
That's
Because they're
why.
going to make a lot more money off of their regular cargoes than just us.
Hmm.
That's why I was thinking that we look up this Thoden.
Yeah, I think you're right.
See if
They'll at
we
least
can,
get us a
see if we can strike a deal.
yeah. I think that might be the better way to go. Just get us
Okay.
a backer, so to speak.
And I understand the need to be discreet, but at a certain point, yeah, we have to reveal, yeah, what we're about, right?
Yep.
Maybe we can trust this Thoden, and prove to him that we know what we're talking about, and that we can go there and recover some things in his name.
Oh yeah. Indeed.
So for the evening, are you guys gonna be taking a watch order or taking any other precautions or anything like that?
Bar the door if possible.
Yeah, you can shut and lock the door. There's a window that's shut and locked as well. So you
Place
can
something in
kind
front of said door.
of. Okay. Yeah, I think you could move up like a dresser in front. I think that's.
Well, and maybe something that'll create a little bit of noise if they should quietly try and push it open. Falls off the dresser and boop,
Sure.
wake
Yeah.
us up. I think a watch order definitely being called for.
Yeah, I think a Mithra only needs 2 hours of sleep anyway, so she's gonna be she can do the lion's share of the watch.
I
Yeah,
only need 4.
I think it is too. Yeah, so we don't have trouble with watch.
Oof.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bart's the one.
Bart's the one
Sleepyhead.
pulling his weight when it comes to watch order here.
So yeah, if you want to just, I guess, put your watch order in for me, or let me know what your watch order is, and then we'll run through that, and I'll let you know if you observe anything.
Well, if Mithra only needs 2 hours, you want to do the first 2 or the first 1 or 2, and I'll take the first 4. You take the first 4 hours, I'll take the next 4.
Yeah, and
Bart could do a couple to start out with, and you guys could split up what's left if you want.
Sure, that works too.
I'll keep Gregor awake, play cards with me to keep me entertained. For at least some
That's
of
kind
it.
of nice. Yeah, there you go. You can always win.
Which
It's like, you won
Yeah.
again.
That brings to my mind if we're going back to uh, the Isle and thinking we might be encountering
Yeah, I'm not sure we're ready to go back
resistance.
there.
Yeah, we might also want to be looking into recruiting, which is kind of why Bart's been bringing up Elmanth General and asking about it, is if there's interest and if dwarves want to find the place again, we may be able to get some free help, if not some interest or assistance. I guess it's just kind of tricky trying to figure out who to drop any information to, because we don't want to attract the attention of
Oh, yeah. I think working with
some other guilds.
Theoden, if Theoden wants to be a backer, or we can help him in some manner, then we just keep on doing it. And because our only other choices are we keep wandering. We do know these groups that are watching us are definitely know we're in town. So
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
I should keep a lower profile, just wear a cloak over my armor and not wear my helmet. Kind of stands
Well,
out.
that's up to you. I mean, they're gonna. They may not have. I'm sure that. Well, the question is how. What priority is it for them to find us? And the fact they were looking for you, does that have any connection with Bartholomew and myself? You know,
Well, didn't they have the tattoos?
they did, but perhaps they're just looking. You're an up and coming warrior, and maybe they're looking to recruit you either willingly or unwillingly. Um, so it's possible that, you know, just because they're looking for you does not necessarily mean they know who the rest of us are offhand.
I'd also like to learn more about this Medusa. How do you fight a foe that you can't gaze upon? I know that there are fighters that can do that, but I have not those skills.
Assuming you probably will have to use a method of blind fighting.
That's a great question, actually. Does Curza have, or does anybody have any type of non-weapon proficiencies around, um, like either religious knowledge or arcane knowledge or anything like that?
Spellcraft,
I don't think so.
ancient
Oh,
history,
you have spellcraft?
ancient history, ancient. Let's see.
I can tell you, I get a bonus with the mask that Bartholomew wears when it comes to gaze attacks, either like vampires or Medusas and stuff. But
Oh, nice.
um,
Nice. Okay, yeah. That's pretty.
as far as yeah, as far as knowledge of those things, though, I don't know if that translates. But
Yeah, if you want to if you have a proficiency check that you might be able to use to, I guess, understand about Medusas, if you want to, apply any of that to this, like ancient history check, I think, is actually a decent one because obviously, if you had some depth in ancient history, you would have maybe heard some myths of them.
Yeah.
But I think what would be the what Kurza would realize is that probably the best thing for you would be to have the ability to cast darkness. That
Purple.
in being able to cast darkness, then the effects that it could bring to you would be negated, and that you could potentially use that. So, there's
Fireball.
That's good to know. Is there magic that we could see in your darkness?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know of any spells specifically for that, but there
But blindness,
probably are.
If you could
Sounds like
inflict
the
blindness.
blind fighting martial skill, perhaps, like someone who's just adept.
Yeah, there is that. I think probably area effect spells or something else where I don't necessarily have to look directly at it. I can just say, well, over there, there's a nice big 20-foot radius fireball. I should be able to hit it,
Mm.
in that somewhere. But yeah, blind fighting would not be a bad idea. Darkness, I like that. But then again, we have to do the same. We have to fight in darkness then too.
Well, I think, yeah, so I think these would be maybe questions that would be swirling around in your minds, or things that you would have discussed, and that you're hoping that maybe Thodin, if you're gonna go see him tomorrow, could help with some of it, right? And that if not, you could probably ask the other questions of other people that he would recommend. So that might be the plan, right? Is what I heard from all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
Okay. So who's going to take the first watch?
I think
Take the first watch.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Bart would be
Oh
fine.
yeah.
Doing a
Okay.
couple hours to start with, just because you guys can
Okay. So
probably handle everything else. But
okay, so then Bart, and then
I'll take 2
Kurza, and then a Mithra
4.
twice. Is that?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let's see. Oops, I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Bart, actually, you are doing watch, and you hear from the alleyway, through the window, which you have a pretty thin window. You can hear like a lot of loud, drunken singing coming from the alleyway, um, and it just sounds like a lot of, like, a cast of voices singing some sea shanties in the alleyway pretty loudly, um, and it's kind of echoing. So the others, for those of you who are sleeping, if you guys roll, let's see, I think we'll just do you could do a savings throw versus spell. Just, yeah, I think that would be the way I would like to do it.
Saving throw versus spell.
So yeah, so Mithra, you're having trouble sleeping. It's loud enough, but Kurza, you're out like a light. So, but eventually, I mean, unless, do you want to check it out or look through the window at all at it?
I mean,
Yeah.
Bart.
But would Bart have already checked it out?
Yeah, Bart would be looking too. He's
Okay. Yeah, so it looks to you like a whole group of sailors, um and several of them are dwarven, are mixed in with some humans, and they're walking down the hall or the alleyway together. Let me change our screen, and so eventually they kind of get out of sight, and or get to the point that you don't hear them anymore. Or at least it's distant, right? And as you're doing that, you actually hear some other voices because you're now next to the window, and so your guys' window is up here, and you were drawn to the window by all of these voices moving down the alleyway, and as they got far enough away, all of a sudden you heard these other two voices more clearly now, and so you can eavesdrop through the window, but you guys need to make rolls.
Yeah, can I see Bart at the window when I can't sleep and see what he's checking out?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
let me have Bart roll first, and then you can join Bart to see if you can catch the second part of the conversation. And then Bart, you'll have a chance to kind of catch the first part of the conversation. What am I gonna? Yeah, I guess there's not really. I guess you don't really have a non-weapon proficiency, so I guess just do wisdom, which is your best ability.
Which is my best?
Well, no, I think
if
wisdom
you-
is your best. I think wisdom's your best ability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want me to roll wisdom, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah, you can roll a wisdom check. That's fine.
Okay. Sure.
So, yeah, you hear these two voices kind of trying to talk, trying to have their little conversation right below your window. And so it's really kind of easy for you to hear their voices clearly from the spot you're at. And one of them is saying to the other one, "Do we have to do this here?" And the other one who's standing next to him is there. You can see them here, but they're both human, appear to be human. And he says, "Don't worry, this will be the last one." And as he does that, the guy who is with the cloak on hands something over to the other gentleman, and at that point, I think you're gonna try to maybe get a look at it, and it might be a situation where you'd have to kind of angle your head correctly to see what it is that they're handing back and forth. So I'm thinking, what would be the right check for that? Maybe intelligence? Yeah, that seems...
Sure. Oof.
Okay, so it just seems like whatever it is like a medium-size object. Something that could be concealed still, but not a small thing. So as he hands it off, then the other guy turns to him and says, "Well, what of your friend?" And he said, the other guy says to him, "He'll be here shortly." And so the gentleman in the cloak looks like he's gonna walk away, and the other guy is leaning against the wall, looks like he's waiting for something. And so that's when Amithra, you would have awoken and been able to walk over towards the window. You would have seen Bart now at the window, like, peering out and listening, and it would have caught your curiosity, and so you could walk over now and try to make an observation check too, or a wisdom check.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, there's some shady business going down below us. We may have cause for concern.
I don't like the look of those two. Is he wearing a mask?
Okay, so and I guess
Well,
I guess
wisdom is not my strength.
Bart, you can do another wisdom check too, though. So after a few minutes and maybe as you're up there, uh, peering out, you notice coming from one end of the alley is a figure that appears. It's not the one who was there previously, and he starts to walk and get closer and closer to the gentleman who's still waiting below your window, and eventually he walks up to him and he says, "I've got it," and he hands over the item that he was handed to the one who shows up, and as he does that, he says he looks at it and you hear him say, "It's a pity, but your service is no longer needed." And with that, you actually see him pull out a blade and stab the other one. So this one here, I'm gonna lay him down. So he falls over, and as that happens, I'm gonna have you both. Actually, Bart, you would have noticed this. You would notice that it seems like the figure who just did the killing actually has more than one hand, an arm.
Oh. This is looking familiar to Bart, I think. Maybe.
And so he kills this guy. He's got the object with him, and with that he kind of just pulls his cloak over and begins walking down the alleyway back in the direction that he came from. And so you guys can absolutely interact with that. I don't mean to say that he would be out of your reach if you're going to do something drastic, but that's essentially what you're going to observe.
Treachery.
I want to say that I recall seeing, I don't know if it was a Sahagin or some kind of creature we had with X arms.
Yeah.
I don't want to wake Kurza up to mess with his sleep to figure it out.
Well, I think so. That would be the natural
yeah.
thing, is that this was at the end of your watch anyway when this happened. So it would be time to wake Kurza if you did want to do that, and I think he's up next anyway.
Yeah, I think it might be worth a discussion to kind of go over what happened and
maybe we should
what we saw.
Maybe we should go check out the body and see if there's any clues on the guy that
I'd
was
hate
murdered.
I'd hate to get caught next to the body, but
yeah, that's true.
I know that I'm not very sneaky.
So they've woken you up, Kurza, and they make you aware of the situation here. And I think Bart would have described the creature to you, looking for your, affirmation, I think, as to whether or not you remember that.
It looks similar to the creature we had fought before, but
I guess so. Where was it that we encountered this? It was in the Sahakwan lair when we found this.
I think you guys would have seen this in the Sahakwan lair and at sea when you were attacked at sea.
Yes,
when you were first attacked at sea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A leader. But I wouldn't go down there to mess with the body, though, because he took whatever it was they were looking for, and the only thing this guy has on him is just his own stuff. So,
True, but we don't know. He might have something. It might something that reveals who he is, which could lead to who his assassin is. I don't know. I'm thinking one of you could watch out, and I could just creep down there and make sure there's nothing on the body.
let me see. Is there something?
Just give a signal if you see someone coming.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? I mean, are you going to go downstairs?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. And
I'm
what
not going to climb out the window, right? Yeah.
what are the others going to do while she's going downstairs? Are you going with her, or are you watching from the window, or?
Well, I'm not
Keep an
going
eye out.
anywhere. I'll come watch from the window.
Keep an eye out, and yeah, I don't know, squeak like a rat or something if you see something coming.
I guess if Kurz is watching from the window, Bart would maybe go by the door that Amithra's going out, just to help aid in closing it quietly behind her if she needs to run back inside.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
Wow.
you guys can step out, and you head into the alleyway, Amithra, and you get out there. It's quiet when you're out there. You don't hear anything.
I'm
And
sure
so
Bart might sneak his head out and look, up and down the alleyway behind Amithra as she goes out too. But
now
But what time is it, Jamie?
Just keeping an eye out, and
it's probably shortly after midnight.
did
And
we decide on
Okay.
like a bird chirp or a whistle to signal get back inside quick, or
throw some rocks at her.
the clink of a rock? So Kurza and Bart each have a rock in their hands to
Okay.
toss in the hallway. If you hear the sound of a rock
weird.
hitting the cobblestone, that means get back inside.
Yeah, I'm wrapped up in a cloak and I'm creeping up on him. First thing I'm gonna do is check and see if he's still alive.
Okay, so yeah, so when you get up to him and you see him, um, yeah, I guess you would lean down to check on him, and he appears to be like he might be dead.
Okay. Yeah, and then I check his possessions, like his pouches, and
Yeah, so when you start
What
to search through him, you find so he's got a pouch on his side, so you can take the pouch, and feels like some coin or something metal in it. On his hip, he had a short sword, and on his he's got leather boots. And I think the thing that stands out to you is that he is wearing a medallion that has the Fire Knives logo on it.
oh wow, okay. I'm gonna take the medallion.
Okay. And then let's see, what else did he have? Anything else? Nope, nothing else on him. He's got leather armor. I'm sorry, leather armor. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
So, but
I'm
yeah,
not gonna take
it's
him
got a
of his
hole in it.
armor, his crappy armor, or his sword. I'll leave him,
Okay.
but I'll take his pouch and the medallion and swiftly but quietly creep back up into the room.
Make a dex check. See how quiet you are in this effort. Okay, perfect. So you get yourself back in
Barely.
there, and yeah, you don't seem like you draw any notice from slipping in and out. And as a matter of fact, the gentleman who sort of checked you in is leaning against the wall with his eyes closed the whole time. And so you guys make your way back upstairs and into your room above the scene. So, if you check out the pouch, then you'll find in it that there are 19 silver pieces and 4 gold. So actually a fair good amount of money for this guy. And then you've got his medallion as well. So
19 silver and how much gold?
4.
4. I'll add it to our inventory.
Okay.
He's one of our enemies. He's presumably.
Yeah.
But who killed him, and what did he pass off to him? Did you get a look at it, Bart?
Did. It had an inhuman number of arms and looked familiar in its shape.
So I'll
Brought back.
oh, sorry, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say it brought back memories of the Sahagin in general.
Yeah, I think when you all first encountered them, if I'm remembering correctly now, it rode in on the back of a shark.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
beside
Yeah.
beside the ship, and so the
Yeah.
ship attacked, and this thing was riding on the back of a shark, or at least one like it that had 4 arms. So it's
Yeah.
you've seen the 4-armed Sahagin before.
I remember that episode. That was a good one.
So it's been a while. It's been over a year for sure. It's like a year and a half now since that, probably. So, but we'll wave you guys to the morning. There's nothing else that I'm gonna torture you with. That was gonna happen regardless. That you guys would have that opportunity, but that actually worked out well for you, because you ended up figuring it out and everything. And so by morning, like, this body got the guards' attention, and so as you guys are waking up in the morning, you would probably hear the chatter of some guards down below as they're like investigating. And so with that, you guys can decide if you're gonna leave and pass by them and participate in giving them information, or if you're gonna try to avoid them or anything else.
I say we just stay in our rooms until the guards are gone.
Maybe, yeah. Listen to what
The
they're
less interaction,
saying.
the better.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Unless we hear something interesting they're talking about, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see if we can eavesdrop something. But
Yeah, I think that if you do listen in to them, that you'd probably just get the sense that this is a pretty routine thing, from what you're hearing.
Another body, huh?
Yeah, another body, huh? And obviously, there's no identification really on it. There's not even the medallion, right? So they don't seem particularly disturbed by it. And I think that would be the thing that would stand out to you all, is how commonplace something like this might be in this area. But they don't seem to be knocking on a lot of doors, but eventually they do have a conversation with the clerk for your inn, at the doorway for your inn, and he speaks to them and says, that he heard a bunch of chatter last night out in the alleyway, a bunch of drunks, probably just a fight amongst drunks, and none of my patrons had anything to do with this. And he actually looks like he gives them a little pouch, and they move the other way. So you guys can kind of lay low for a little bit, and eventually they're gone, and you can leave, you believe, without being seen by the guard. So with that, are you going to be heading to the merchant district? We're gonna try that.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're gonna look up this Thoden.
Okay. All right. So yeah, back to the merchant district. You guys will have to decide, are you going to go straight out from the sea district into the Great Way, and then up the Great Way and enter into the merchant district, or are you going to go back through the services? I mean, I guess you just have a couple choices.
I don't know.
What
We
route?
didn't. I would say we should probably go through the adventurers district, because we got into the the merchant district fairly easily from the adventurers district. Just because, adventurers need to buy stuff or sell stuff. And I think that's why we got in fairly easily the last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think.
Yeah, you remember it being one of the easiest two places to go between. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we
So
do we want to circle back to the place we're staying, perhaps in the adventure district?
no.
Not to go in there, but to maybe go like the alleyway or two behind it to see and observe if anyone's trying to case it or
Hmm.
see if
Well, that
anybody's
risks us
trying
being
to watch
discovered
us.
again.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, moving anywheres in the city, however,
Yeah.
is a risk too. But
That seems too risky. I mean, maybe when Ronnie is back from his bender.
see, that's right.
Yeah.
He'd
That'd
be
be the
perfect
best
for that,
part.
yeah.
You go over there and you actually like see Ronnie's just passed out drunk, just on a bench in the adventurers district,
Yeah.
Yeah. after all of this. Well, you guys.
That is a job for Ronnie. Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
do you want to go then directly to the Great Way and then to the adventurers district, or a different way?
Yeah, it seems like we have to cross the Great Way.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got to cross it one way or another.
Yeah. So
So they'll probably
proposing
pick
that
us up there anyway.
you're
So
proposing it's better that we go through the adventurers district to the merchant district because we had less trouble, right?
yeah, the cross
And
between adventurers and merchants seemed fairly simplistic.
what about going
And
through the poor district, Kurza? Like, yeah. I mean, what if one of these guards is paid off and they're looking for us when we come in through the adventurers gate?
I mean, we did see the place we're staying. The provisioner kind of took care of us and ordered the guards off. Maybe they have some suggestions on how to move more easily throughout the city.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I wonder if we could trust them just because they seem to have our backs a little bit.
I think so. Yeah, if you wanted to talk to the guy who runs the place,
yeah, I'd be hesitant to go through the poor district because we saw the trouble you can have in the C district. The
True.
poor and people are employed in the C district.
Yeah.
The people in the poor district aren't so employed and might be more inclined to waylay people like us who look like we have stuff.
Or what about if we march down the Great Way all the way to the Temple District, on Bartholomew's business, and then enter the Merchant District through the Temple?
Well, that puts us in the Great Way for a very long distance.
That's true.
Well, let's do this because you may have other things that change as you go, but which way would you like to exit from the C district? Straight into the Great Way, or do you want to go back through the services district? If we can decide on that, and then maybe from that next interaction, you might decide if you want to do what your next route would be.
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of change my appearance a little bit, just to, if I was wearing a hat, now I'm not, or something like that. Or
yeah, I mean, without a disguise or like a spell,
yeah, it's
or
going to be
something, it's
fairly
it's more narrative than actual.
Yeah.
But I understand.
Don't we have some robes?
Sure, you can throw your robe. You can throw your cloak up and try to be nondescript.
Yeah, I mean, it's like traveling cloaks.
Okay.
You can just kind of put up the hoods and go from there.
All right. So you guys will head then, I guess, towards the Great Way, and then you reach the gate. You notice that unlike the other gate that you came in from the services district, this one is a lot more well manned. There are actually 8 guards here, and when you approach the front of the line, the guard at front says, "Ho there, what's your business?"
Is this getting out of the Sea District?
This is to get out of the Sea District into the
Ah.
Great Way.
I guess this is where Bart might step up and say, "We're off to pay homage and worship in the Temple District."
Let's see. Make a charisma check. See how much they like that.
Oh, it's the only one I've passed
Nice.
ever, I think. So, yeah.
Where did you stay last evening?
I think Bart's gonna tell him the truth.
At the little inn next to the what is it? The smelly anchor. So,
Smelly Acre, yeah. We
let and so with that, you notice like that more than one guard now are paying attention to you, and they say, "Show us all of your weapons and blades." And they're talking to all three of you.
mm,
Okay,
Bart
Dad.
has like a staff, I think.
Yeah, they're like, looking around, on your belt to see if they see any blades. If you don't have any, they're kind of checking you to make sure. What about
I
the
have a
others?
couple of daggers and a quarterstaff, and that's about it.
And do you show them
Yeah.
your blades? Okay. And
Bruce's short sword, bola, net,
yeah,
trident.
yeah, yours
armory.
is quite the list. Yeah, so I think they look at all your bladed weapons pretty closely. They hand them around. In fact, it ends up that three different guards end up looking at each of your weapons, and one of the guards is like admiring your Drusus, and actually nicks his hand on it because it's so sharp, and he didn't realize how sharp it is, and he says, "These are fine, they're clean," and they hand them all back to you, and
Has there been some trouble?
oh, nothing we haven't seen before. But yes, a man lost his life last night, just sadly around the corner from where you slept.
Yeah.
So how much longer will you be in our city?
A few more days.
Which I think sets off an alarm bell that you know that they know that you're not from here
Mm-hmm.
when they ask you that question.
They know who we are.
Well, we're dressed as travelers coming out of the Sea District.
Yeah, you just don't look like you're from
So,
here is sort of
right.
the conclusion that the vibe that you give from the way you're dressed and carry yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just looking to get some supplies and pay our dues to the gods, and we'll be on our way.
Very well. Be quick about your business and follow the order, and I'm sure you'll be fine. And with that, they step aside and let you pass by.
A fine city you have here. I see. Oh, well, you keep order. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so they let you pass out into the Great Way. And from there, I think, you guys would notice that there's not a lot of people traveling right now in the Great Way. From when you'd been out here before, it'd been a lot busier. And so you're one of only a handful of groups right now that are in the Great Way. And you can decide then from there which district you want to enter next.
I guess
Feel
we'll just have to.
Feel kind of exposed here, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We'll have to keep watch of who's taking note of us.
Go ahead and
as we go.
do wisdom checks if you do wisdom checks if you're looking around. Or
Yeah.
if you're head down, if you're just head down and not looking around, you don't have to. But
Yeah, I tell Gregor to stay like 50 feet back behind us and follow us and keep an eye on and see if anyone's following us.
that's an
All the
accomplishing part.
I was gonna say all the you know, checking us over probably has Bart a little unsettled. He's not paying attention very well. But
Yeah, or maybe he's not seeing anything because he's distracted and thinking of where he's going next. And
I got a good roll, but
he's trying
did,
to
yeah.
remember the names of all the temples in there that are not dedicated to his lady that he can try and give an excuse of why they might want to go in and visit.
That's a good point. You're probably already in your mind thinking of what your interaction will be like.
Helm, Torm, Timora,
Yeah.
Ogma, Joaquin, Denier.
Mystera.
Yep. So
Yep.
Is there a Mystera here?
Isn't it Mistra?
Mystera,
no,
yeah.
I don't think she was one of them, but maybe I'll have to double check when you get over there. But I'd say that Kurza, you were the one who had the best role, and so you take some time to really survey this great way, and
Yeah.
you do feel like people are watching you guys. You feel like all the people who are out here traveling around are like very few of them seem like they're in this area for legitimate reasons. It seems like that a lot of them are either guards or people who you've seen before that would follow people in town. So it's
Well, I would expect the guards to pay attention to us,
and they are watching
just
you,
because they are.
yeah. But you definitely see others that you don't trust, walking about here, milling about, that don't seem like they're traveling with urgency like you guys are. They're sort of more hanging out and taking note of who's coming and going. So you just get an uneasy feeling. It doesn't mean that that they're doing anything or that that they know who you are, but you definitely get an uneasy feeling that many people know where you're traveling right now, and you are somewhat exposed in that regard. So how would you guys like to proceed? I'll move you out on the map into the Great Way. Are you gonna?
Well, do we have what gods are in the temple district, I guess is my main question.
That question would be for Bart then, because it would be up to what he
Yeah.
remembers.
I've been kind of mumbling. That's why I couldn't pay attention to what's happening around us. I've been mumbling the names of Helm and Torm and Timora and Joaquin, and I kind of Bart settles on Timora, like just kind of looking at his own belt, saying, when I was here last time, they had the best prices on potions, and perhaps we're just going shopping. And I do have a few items that need to be identified yet, so.
And there was a shrine to Mistra, so you would have remembered that too. Yep.
And Mistra too, yeah.
Mhm.
So.
I would be interested in that. I actually worship Mistra, oddly enough. But the
cool.
Rashomai, the hidden one, is what we call her.
Okay.
I don't really have
The party.
I don't have a god necessarily. I think I was probably thinking I'd pick one of the
I'd honestly
Elven
recommend
ones.
either Ogma or Denier, because they are like I think one of them is like the god of knowledge, and you've kind of been the one who's like collected all of this knowledge and all these books and everything, and I believe I want to say that that's Ogma. That's like
I think you're right,
the
Jamie.
book.
Domes of Region. Denier had the walking constructs made out of books.
Oh, that's what it's Denier. It's Denier.
When I visited, yeah.
Denier is the one.
Yeah,
you're right.
Ogma has knowledge, intervention, inspiration, and bards.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
But as you guys do this, you make your way up to the temple district, and
Looks like we've got more than a few excuses to visit the temple district. But...
Yeah.
and so when you as you're going in that direction, you would probably at this point all have the best view of the castle district now, which the rooftops are gold in the castle district, and so I think just that would be sort of an awe moment for everybody when you would see this, beautiful, pristine, golden rooftop castle, and the immaculate palace and everything would be somewhat visible, even though there's walls and barriers. It would be an impressive sight, I think, even still. And when you approach the temple district, you see at the gate of the temple district, there's 8 guards there as well, standing about, and one of them would be greeting you. Who would be the one to lead or be in front?
Say Bart in this case.
Okay.
I was gonna defer to someone with more people skills, but
Got the best charisma roll.
I think all of us
You're
have.
obviously a
Yeah, I'm obviously a priest, but all of us have a good reason to enter
Everyone
this
has a
district, I
legitimate.
think.
Yeah, everyone has
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
to this
so.
point.
So, I mean, if Bart goes up first, he might say that, yeah, I'm here for potions and guidance from Timur on when I just point to my potion belt and
Okay.
filling this out, and my friends are along with me for their own purposes as well, seeking guidance and blessings
And
the like.
will you be bringing a donation with you today?
Naturally.
There you go.
I intend.
I think we all have heavy purses, right?
I intend to tithe to Mistra. Yes.
So, yeah, let me have you make that. Let's do this. Let's do like a group charisma check. So we'll base it on the result of how many of you pass, since you're all sort of, I think, speaking together as they're asking the questions. There's one success. Oh, we need one more success.
Come on, Garza. You can do it.
There it is. Okay, perfect.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think the combination of the fact that you were quick to offer tithing, and that you were also naming specifically the temples that were already there, so it seems somewhat apparent that you'd been there before, or you at least familiar with it. I think that bought you some credibility, and so
We're just wandering around.
yeah, and so they do say to you, as you pass through this district, you will need to leave your weapons with us.
Really?
I'm not giving up my weapon. I'm sorry.
And Bart, you would remember that when you were there before that you did not have to do that.
But I came through the merchant district last time when I entered.
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we chat out of this?
What has changed, I guess? We've been here before, been no
we
not
didn't
had
come
to do
through this entrance.
Well, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do
ask the
you besmirch
guards.
our honor this way?
We are only letting residents pass armed.
You have different rules at different entrances then, huh?
Is that just this district, or because we were staying at the Adventurers District and we had no problems?
The temple district must be protected at our latest orders.
Very well. Yeah, I guess.
If you will
Yeah, I
leave your
guess
weapons with us, they will be secure, and when you leave, you may take them back.
Well, and
How
my
about I
my 2 daggers, yeah.
I'd call
Or
Gregor over.
unless they need my quarterstaff.
You could leave Gregor out there, right? with all your
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm gonna leave
Yeah.
Gregor. I'm not gonna trust these guards with my Drusus. And maybe the other ones, but not my Drusus.
Okay, yeah, so that's an option. You can leave Gregor
Yeah.
to watch the weapons, and then as long as you're not trying to pass through with the weapons. Is that the
Do
plan?
they consider the quarterstaff, my walking stick, a weapon?
Oh man, you're gonna pull the old walking stick move. You know what? That's I mean, I love
Maybe
it.
I'm not old enough
I
to do
love it.
that. So
But well, yeah, I don't know. I think you could try it. You could probably try it
I'll
if you
just
want to.
kind of, I'll hand them both daggers and
We'll
then see if they
yeah, we're gonna do a
motion
charisma
for
check.
the.
We're gonna definitely do a new charisma check for this, just to see if they fall for that. But because you are somewhat forthcoming with some of your weapons, they might
Yeah.
fall for it. Yeah, I'll say they'll fall for it. They'll let you carry your
Okay.
staff. They don't maybe see it as a problem.
I give the guards my other weapons, but I give the 2 swords to Gregor because one of them is magical and I don't want to lose it, and the Drusus is so valuable to me. I don't want to lose it. But I give them the net and the bolas and my dagger as a show of good faith. And I tell Gregor not to talk to anybody.
Stay put. Stay put.
put.
Okay. So with
I
that,
suppose
go ahead.
I think I have a club and a footman's mace. I actually don't have quarterstaff anymore, so I suppose I'll give those over to the guards.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got my 2 daggers off dead bodies somewhere, so it's not a big deal.
I whisper to Gregor to meet us at the if for some reason we get split up, the Thoden gem merchant in the merchants district.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, with that, with the good faith gesture and turning over your weapons, they allow you into the temple district. So, yeah. So again, I think the temple district has shrine to Mistra, shrine to Denir, Agma, and what else? There's a lot of nobility that you would see some nobility moving
So
around.
in Torm, had the nobility going back and forth.
Yeah.
Cheating. I'm looking at some notes here.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. That's sort of what you remembered from before, that there was a pretty good presence of nobility here in the temple district, as well as priests and clerics and such.
You said the Temple of Timora was the best place for potions? Or
yeah. From what I recall last time I was here, I think they were around 70 gold apiece for like healing potions and whatnot. If I recall correctly.
Yep. Yeah, so there were these are the places, some of the places, and Timora's is called the Ladies' Happy Hall, and there's a contact there that you would have remembered from your first time through, that you could go back and buy from if you guys choose to do that.
yeah, I'd like to buy at least 1 potion.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys go to the temple of Timora, you can get the same offer, which 70 gold for potion of, I guess, minor healing it would be.
Okay.
Holy water?
What's that? You want holy water?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get holy water here.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever the player's handbook cost is.
I think that was 25 gold.
I want to say that's right. I thought it was 20 or 25, but yeah, we can confirm that easy enough. But yeah, I think as you're buying this, the lady who's selling these asks you, if do do you plan to need all of this healing for something?
Never hurts.
Do you
I'll say that with the punaciousness, and it never hurts.
do you expect a battle ahead?
Well, there's always that possibility is the problem.
Well, then let's we should see what the lady will bring for you. And she pulls a coin out of her pocket, and she flips the coin, and catches the coin in her hand. And I'm gonna have let me have Molly. Let me have you roll a d20. Mm. It says, and she looks at the coin and she says, the the lady will help you. And she hands you the coin. You feel like the coin. You almost feel like right away when you grab the coin that it feels lighter than it should to you. She says,
Who's grabbing this coin? Kurza?
Keep it for good luck. She's giving it to you, Amithra.
Oh, what good fortune. Thank you. And I bite it.
And it, like I said, it just feels really light. It feels really light for the size of the coin that it is, and it's in just mint condition. So it's definitely a pretty coin. It's very well made. Anything else that you wanted to try to seek out in the Ladies' Happy Hall?
I
Where are
suppose
we
I
in?
better tie the little
Zamora's?
to Timora as well. So I'll tithe 5 silver
Okay.
in the collection, or
Yeah. I think they would be. There would be probably like some really like some goblets and things like that where they would have collections that you would be able to donate to the lady. And yeah, they would be well received. This will bring you and your friends the best of luck.
I think we're gonna need it.
Yeah, so I think, like being here in the Temple District and being around some of the real true dedicated followers and believers, it might occur to you guys that this would be a place where you may have a good or as good of a chance of getting some type of ability to do darkness. If that was a tactic that you were thinking of for the Medusa later, or if you were
I was
looking for
gonna.
knowledge,
I
regarding
was.
things like that, this would be a place, and the Temple of Denir would be a place, or Ogma, excuse me, would be.
I was thinking Ogma.
Mm-hmm.
See if they have any information on Medusas.
Yeah. So we'll just do just a few more minutes. We'll wrap up here, but you guys can head to the Domes of Reason to speak with some scholars there about Medusas. And so when you arrive there, it's again, there's a bunch of candles. I know there's a lot of candles here, and it's well lit. And one of the clerics of Ogma who is there, or one of the scholars, would approach you and offer to help you. And so how will you sort of ask, or what's your question?
Well, I will
how many
initiate a donation first
I got you. Okay. And
of 5 silver
when
or 6, I guess.
6 silver. So
Yeah.
once you do that, the scholar bows to you and says, how may Ogma guide you?
Well, I'm in need of information, actually. Some research on medusas, for I have seen one and wish to know what trouble it may cause
He
and more about it.
he squints. He squints and he leans in. He reaches out and he touches your arm. You've seen one,
Yes,
but yet you are still flesh. It has
I
not
was
seen
high up.
you.
It did not, and we made sure of that.
Well, then you are very lucky.
Quite.
I will, I will, I will
We were
research
not
this.
prepared for such an encounter, and we had to depart lest we would encounter her.
I would research this um, in our library, and he walks with you to particular. Basically, the whole place looks like a library, and he's like speaking about it like there's one section that's a specific area, and he walks you over to that room, and he pulls out a tome and he starts flipping through it, and he says that's not it, and he hands it to you, and you can kind of peer at the book, and it looks like it's a lot of it is written in ancient languages, and you would recognize some of it as being ancient Dwarven, but there's other languages too that you're seeing that are ancient languages that you don't fully recognize. And finally, he pulls out a book after a few minutes where he's looking at, and he says, "Yes, the Medusas have some um, very limited weaknesses. If you would find yourselves in battle with one, there are some things that could be tried. There are other things that are more proven, of course.
Okay.
Um, one such notion is that having a mirror or mirrors with you is a defensive tactic that would work against Medusa.
To
Um,
use it to make her see herself, or to use it to see her
you would use it to make her see
indirectly.
herself, so
Really?
that she wouldn't see you. Um, and and the other, of course, darkness. He confirms that darkness is maybe the like the number one recommendation would be darkness because it's one of the easiest things to do. But he says the problem with darkness, of course, is that it will be dark for you too. And
And it can be countered.
so he says, be careful, be wary of using one tactic alone. One tactic alone will not defeat the Medusa. There is no one way. A mirror by itself or darkness by itself will not do it. The other weakness, let's see, what else does he want to mention? Um, oops, there we go. So he's saying that one thing he could tell you is that the Medusa will rep- will did the Medusa have legs? He asks you.
Yes.
Then you have not seen its leader,
Ah.
and it will not be far from its leader, who will not have legs, and appear
What does
more
the
as
leader have?
it will appear more as a full-bodied serpent.
Oh. Yes, this was more of a humanoid with snake hair and female.
The 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 greater Medusa is has beyond its gaze powers, it has a venom that is nearly impossible to treat.
Does it spit?
No, but it does bite.
Okay. some snakes will spit, so I wasn't.
Right, but it's just an extremely deadly venom.
Okay.
That you wouldn't fare well against.
No, I imagine
You'd
not.
be better turned to stone, he says.
Great. I saw some of her victims, so.
I think
What
beyond
would counter the stoning? A stone to flesh spell?
there is magic that can counter it. That would be one of them. There are
Okay.
some other magics that could counteract the gaze. There are some reflection spells. I believe there's a gaze reflection, and he suggests also that a cloud can be as effective as darkness. So
That's a very good idea.
yeah. So that's sort of the list of what he talks about. He says that the Medusa is an ethereal creature, and so that's part of why it has the petrifying gaze, that it gets that quality from being an ethereal creature. So if you can also otherwise affect its state of being, you may be able to negate the turn to stone that it causes. So he says, I hope that you are just curious about this matter and that you will not follow up on it, but if you do, may Ogma guide you.
Thank you very much. Your help has been most enlightening. I do not wish to, directly go up against it again, but it's one of those things. If I've seen it once, you never know. There may be others, especially since it was not the leader.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll pause here and we'll pick up in the Temple District next session. I'll move you guys into here. While you're in while you're in the Temple District, if there's anything else that you all wanted to do, let me know, and then I'll kind of look into that and be prepared next session. If there's other questions or things you wanted to research, for example, or other magic that you like, if you want to seek out. Is anybody thinking anything along those lines that you would be doing?
Yeah,
maybe
the
something
more
that makes a cloud. Maybe something that makes a cloud.
Okay.
I'm thinking, I think we should get some more cash, do a few jobs, and because I think I want to, if we're going after her, then I need some additional spells.
So yeah,
Scrolls,
so maybe
scrolls even.
scrolls,
know.
potions, or something that would allow you to cast some of these sight or
Right.
vision spells, and then
And that will be expensive, I'm sure.
and then I'll the other thing I was going to say is I'll go and do a duplicate of the game and go and convert and see if I can find the coinage from your other sheets and bring that over, so then that way we know exactly how much you had, so that you can weigh your options next session, because it sounds like you're going to have a few options as far as getting yourselves travel. But yeah, and hopefully you'll have a sneaky little thief with you next time, and as well as a new character who I'm excited for you guys and will fit in beautifully, I think, with everything that's going on. So I'm hoping that Wayne will be able to make next session. I think he should be. But thanks, guys.
Sweet.
Thanks for
Yeah.
the great role playing session. I think you've sorted a lot of things out. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good game. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thank you all. All right, we'll do it in a
Thanks.
couple